Back when I was in the Marines, Semper Fi, we used a term called escalation of force to describe easing into a situation, not just going from 0 to 100 and just going crazy when something happened. You want to be able to take something step by step and slowly escalate into the required response to a situation. What I'm going to do here is use that same term, escalation of force, to describe a digital conversion project and how you can ease into going from not knowing what you're doing, not knowing who you're going to work with, to actually getting a project done. First step, kind of step 0, let's call it, is do your research. You want to look around and find viable companies to be your scanning partner for the project. And to do that, you can go on Google, just type in digital scanning companies, or let's say you have something like microfilm. You could say microfilm scanning companies or how to scan microfilm. So you do some Google searches, you could go to YouTube like you're doing now, find companies that are talking about digital conversion. You can see if there are webinars available out there. Many companies will do webinars about scanning, but you want to find a couple different companies, do a little bit of research and read their blogs, watch their videos, find out about them. Then you want to get in touch with them as the next step. Pick 2 to 3 at least 2, possibly 3 or more. Well, I wouldn't go above 3 just because you start interviewing too many people, you get paralysis analysis or analysis paralysis, whichever way it goes. Too many options. I'd say at least 2, always have a comparison, but then maybe 3 as a good group of folks you want to be kind of comparing against, because every company is going to do something different, or they're going to scan different, how they execute, how they communicate. So you want to have that comparison. So pick 2 to 3 companies after you've done your research, and then reach out to them and talk about your project. See what they'd scope it, how's pricing work, so on and so forth. Now, let's say you whittle it down to 2 of those 3 companies. Say, all right, I interviewed 3, I researched 3, we chat back and forth, and I'm going to choose A and B. What you can do next, again, this is the next step in the escalation. So again, didn't know anything you're researching, then you escalate it up to, I'm going to talk to some companies. Now here's the next step, which is let's do a sample. We'll use that microfilm project again. Let's say you have microfilm. What you can do and ask is, hey, do you guys provide samples? They most likely do. If you work with us, we'll provide a sample. And what you'll do is you'll send your microfilm to them based on the scope of work that you've discussed, and they'll create a sample for you of how it would look if you actually worked together. Now, the sample is important because it's not just getting the sample done. It's not getting your roll of microfilm scan and seeing, of course, you want to see the quality, how the indexing's done, how it turns out, but it's really a good test of how that company is going to work with you, because how they interact with you now, this is when they're trying to get you to buy something. So if they're not good to work with now while they're actually trying to get you, for you to give them your materials, give them money, work with them, then it's only going to get worse going forward once they actually have the order and say, all right, move on to the next. So how they interact with you now, the communication, the professionalism, that's going to be a huge indicator. So it's not just getting the sample done itself, it's actually kind of a test to see, how does this company work? Am I going to like them? Are they going to do a good job? How's it going to be when I actually give them my materials when we do the real project? So let's say you get the sample done, you're still not sure who you want to work with, you can move up to the next step, which is a pilot project. Now, the difference between a pilot and a sample is, at least in our case, again, I'm going to specifically talk about BMI. A sample is typically a free sample, and it's just like, let's say 1 roll. Let's say you have 5,000 rolls of microfilm. You send us 1 or 2 rolls, we scan them. It's kind of a hand jam, kind of a ham and egg project where we're not necessarily setting up an entire process flow. We're doing a basic scanning, doing some manual indexing, some manual framing of images, so on and so forth, to show you an example, a sample of what it should be like if we work together. A pilot's different because that's typically going to be something that's paid. The reason is, let's say the whole project, 5,000 rolls, let's say $100,000 project, just to make it easy. The setup for that would be something in the $2,000 to $3,000 range. Let's say you have 5,000 rolls. Let's say you have just 1 document type. They're all the same type of materials, student records, for instance. We would say, all right, how about you send us 50 rolls, and for $5,000, we're going to set up the actual process flow. We're going to create your unique process flow based on a scope of work, and we're going to scan these 50 rolls, process them through that entire workflow, and then show you the results. The difference between that and a sample is now we're going to have a dedicated project manager go through our actual project approval process. We're going to have them set up your unique process flow. We call it our Milestone 1 proof of concept process, where we test your materials, we build the unique process flow, we push them through, we find any things we need to fix, we tweak the process flow to make sure it's matching the scope of work, and then when that's done, we will show you. So by the time the pilot's done, you actually have a built process flow. So if you decide to move forward with us, you just send us the rest of the film and we're already ready to go. We don't have to build anything else. Your project setup is done because we did it during this pilot. So it's kind of it's like a sample on steroids, but it is a great way to really get going. And if you have that pilot done, we've done this with many clients, once that pilot's done, they make and that secondary yes decision, it's much easier to get started because great, we already have that milestone 1 done. We have the approval for the process flow. Now we just need to get the rest of the records and put them into the process to execute. Kind of mixed up ideas there, but when I talk about the pilot and then you heard me say milestone 1, our milestone 1 proof of concept process, we call it our M1, that's part of that. That really is the next step, that we're doing the pilot and we're creating that M1 at the same time so that you are ready to go. If we didn't do a pilot, let's say after the sample you said, you know what, I want to work with you, then even if we were moving forward, we have contracting, scope of work, we have materials showing up, we're ready to go, we're still going to do that milestone 1 proof of concept we do it with to make sure that we are getting you the results that you want, making sure we understand the project based on what we all described, what we believe it to be. We typically do find little nuances and issues that pop up that we take care of, but it's all built into this milestone process where we're making your workflow. It could be 10 steps, it could be 50 steps, but that is part of your project. And if you don't do the pilot, we would still do the M1 as part of your project. And then of course, the last step in the escalation of force is doing the project. You're here, you either done the pilot and you're just about to go over, you say, hey, I want to move forward. Great, we're at the project because we already have the M1 done as part of the pilot. If you skip the pilot, you go straight from sample to I want to work with you, BMI, then we'd be in that milestone 1. Milestone 1 gets approved, and now we are in the project. You have reached the top of the escalation of force, and we're moving forward with your project to get your records digitized. All right, lots to kind of unpack there of how it goes from not even knowing who you're going to work with to executing a project, but that's how you can see how you sort of slowly go up the ladder in that digitization escalation of force. Now, if you're wondering who's going to coordinate this, how are we going to work together? That sounds like a lot of work. Yeah, it is a little bit of work, but if you watch this video here called the underrated skills that make a successful digitization project leader, that will describe what you should look for, what your project leader, your account executive should really be doing to help hold you through this process and guide you through it. If you want to reach out to us about your project, click the link in the description below, and thank you for watching.